Hi there. My name is Wilhelm Hawker, and I'm the Director of Solution Engineering here at Parasoft, focused on functional testing. And thanks for joining me today. We're going to be looking at AI-based API testing using large language models with Parasoft SOAtest. So let's get started. So here I've got SOAtest, and we've got our AI assistant with the chat window where I can be chatting with a large language model. In this case, we are connected to OpenAI using GPT-4o. I could be using another large language model, perhaps one that you've got deployed locally on-prem. But for today, I'm just going to be running with OpenAI. And so say I want to get started testing some APIs. So here is our application under test today, the Parasoft demo app. It's a camping supplies store, so there's an order workflow, items and categories, things like that. And I want to come to the OpenAPI definition because this is what we're going to be using to have the AI sort of read through this and then follow our instructions in natural language to create API tests for us. And so with that in mind, I've got a prompt here that I'll paste in to save some typing. So using the REST API, please create a test scenario that adds two items to the cart, submits the order, and then verifies the order has been placed. We also are giving it instructions for how we want to data drive the test. Right, so there's various columns of data that we want to kind of run through multiple runs. And so we're asking it for 10 rows of data. And so here, the first response, it's telling us what are the specific calls that it's kind of interpreting from the instructions we gave it. So add two cart items, add the order, and then get orders. So that looks good. So here we'll come in and we'll do create order to create the test for us. And so then the next thing it's going to do is kind of create the data source and parameterize the test with the data that we want. But first it's asking to confirm if this looks good in terms of the data we're interested in. So we've got item ID quantity for both items and then region, which I told it to do that. So that looks good as well. And so now if we come over to our test, we can see we've got all four operations that we were expecting. We've got our CSV data source here. So let's just go ahead and run this test, and I'll jump over to the demo app real quick. And we missed the toasters, so let's run it again. And yeah, it's creating a bunch of orders in the system for us. And so if we jump in this case, we have 20 orders, right? Because I ran through it twice. And it's got a variety of items and quantities, sort of what we were asking for. So very quickly able to kind of start with the API spec and get to some interesting test cases for us. I want to show you guys another one because I think this one is quite interesting as well. And here we are going to create a test scenario where we add a category into the system and then add some items into the newly created category. So some extra stitching in between API calls. And I've got some instructions about what kind of data I want as well. And so here we can see create the category, check the category was created, and then add two items. Yeah, that looks reasonable to me. And so we'll do add category. And then just like before, now it's going to generate the data for us and parameterize the test with that data. So we'll see kind of what the columns were that I was requesting here, and we'll go from there. All right, so a lot of different data related to categories and items. This looks good. And then we'll see our add category test, has also been parameterized to our data source, and we've got a number of things going on. So when we create the category, this is why I wanted to show a second example here. We've got tests that depend on some dynamic data that comes back in this when we create the category. We've got a category name and a category ID, which we're extracting to then parameterize the category name when we do a get. And similarly, when we're adding items into the newly created category, we want those, we need the category ID. And so that category ID doesn't exist until the category is created. So our AI is also kind of looking at dynamic data and stitching that together for us so that when we run our test, we've got kind of the right things happening, right? A bunch of categories got added into the system. Uh, each category has the items that I was interested in. So a really nice way to get started API testing using natural language to help you get a head start on all the various scenarios you're interested in testing, as well as data driving those scenarios with interesting data that you sort of need to test your API with. And so that's what I had for you today. If you have any questions or you want to see more, just come reach out to us at parasoft.com, and we look forward to talking with you soon.